how did you know? What was that moment in time where you knew racing was what you wanted to do?
We had bicycles. We lived out in about 10 miles south of Asheville, in a little place called Avery's Creek. Some call it Avery's Creek, some call it West Haven. But anyway, that's where I was born.
Oh.
And there in a little shack on Long Shoals Road. And during the Great Depression, I was breech-born, almost died.
Oh my God.
Doctor hadn't come along, I probably wouldn't have been here. But anyway, when we got probably about 14 years old, I saw a poster on a utility pole, stock car racing. Now, I was fascinated by automobiles already.
Okay.
And me and my friend decided we'd ride bicycles to Asheville Speedway. I didn't even know it existed.
Yeah.
But we knew where Weaver was, and we headed out on real early Sunday morning. And it was about maybe 18 miles from where we lived. And saw our first race. And it was we didn't have no money. We slipped under the fence. And there was a guard standing there in the hole under the fence, old board fence.
Mm-hmm.
Water washed the hole out of it, and we stepped under the fence. And there it was, Banjo Matthews and Cotton Owens.
Oh my gosh.
Curtis Turner, Joe Weatherly, Joe Lee Johnson, a number of others having this modified race. And that was the most fascinating thing I'd ever seen.
Wow.
And from that point on, every time I had a chance to volunteer,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I did. And I volunteered to help a guy named Toy Jones that built cars for Banjo to drive. And he was not far from where I live, not far from where my shop is now. And I went to Washington, D.C. and enroll in a trade school. The U.S. government had a big program going on there, and I quit high school and went and done that, and I become a journeyman plumber and pipe fitter time I was 21.
Oh wow.
And I got on a job and made a lot of money. I was getting journeyman's wages at me 21 years old, and that was pretty big money back in them days compared to what other people made.
Yes.
I volunteered to help a guy there in Washington, D.C., Jimmy Mayers. And we built cars, and he raced them at Manassas and Marlboro, Maryland.
Yeah.
And one year at Manassas, they said you could use a V8 engine, overhead valve V8. They was using flatheads. And he put a Chevrolet engine in this car, and they didn't even know what happened. He won 18 out of 20 times that racetrack.
Wow.
And the track championship, and it was NASCAR. And I moved back from there to here permanently in 1962. And I went to work, they built a big powerhouse here. And I went out on that powerhouse in what they call a hot welder. And I stayed working and started building a race car at the same time of my own. And the time I got it done, I was 26 years old. And that was 1963. And I started racing at Asheville.
Wow. Wow.
And I was down there at Asheville Speedway, and something I'll never forget as long as I live. Ralph Earnhardt was there.
Oh.
And he I don't know why, he wouldn't hardly talk to anyone, especially these rookies. And he come to me and he said, "Boy, if you quit driving faster than you can go, you do all right." And he turned and walked away. And every time I go on a racetrack, I'd spin out or do something. And that night, when he walked away, I said, "I'm going to finish this race. I don't care if he lapped me 10 times. Well, I finished and I got left, but I was in 8th place. About 10 cars left running. I said, "Whoa, this feels good. I don't have to work on this thing." So I run 12 races at 63, and the last race was at Asheville Speedway, a 200 lap. I run second, Leroy Arbor.
Wow.
And the very next year, starting off in Harris Speedway in the independent track, I won 10 in a row at that racetrack. And Asheville opened about 2 months afterwards. It opened in February. And I won 3 or 4 in a row there. And then those hot dogs got tired of me, and they started wrecking me, and that's when the fighting started.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the only way you could get any respect.
Oh.
It's just the way it was.
Yeah.
And up there around Manassas and all them places, they was doing a lot of that too. Runt Harris and some of them people.
Some of the greatest names
Yes,
in
oh
racing.
yes. Ray Hendricks, Sonny Huston, Bill Dennis, all them guys was Manuel Savakis.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and Jimmy, the guys helping, we beating them to death. I mean, he's beating them terrible bad.
Oh my gosh.
And Jimmy was a hell of a driver. I mean, I've helped him volunteer. I bought my own pit passes, and him winning them races, I even bought my food on the way home. But I didn't care. I was learning, and that's what it's all about, is learning what's going on.
Now see, something in all of that that's interesting is that there you are racing and winning. You're 26, 27 years old, right?
Yeah, 27 I started winning, yeah.
Right. That was young to be doing that at that time in the history of the sport, was it not?
Yeah, David Pearson and Richard Petty and Bobby Allison, they were racing when they were 18, 19, 20 years old. The first time I saw Bobby Allison, he come there all the way from Miami. We was in Marlboro, Maryland on Sunday.
Oh my gosh.
Had a modified race there, and Bobby showed up there, and he had raced at Bowman Gray Stadium the night before. And Ed Flemke had too.
That's still a long ride.
Yeah, and they
Ed
was
Flemke.
they was Bowman Gray Stadium and come to Manassas. In them days, that'd been over a 300-mile trip.
Right.
And they raced Saturday night at Bowman Gray, and they was at Marlboro, Maryland on Sunday, and that's the first place I saw Bobby Allison.
Wow.
I had never heard of him because he was racing out of South Florida. And they was a baseball player and played for the Senators named Bob Allison.
Oh.
And I thought it was one of the same, and I walked up and asked him. He said, no, I know who you're talking about. And me and him have been the best of friends ever since.
You and Bobby?
Yes, oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow. See, you have just named off names that raced in all forms of racing.
Oh yeah.
Went in different directions as they raced and everything. And yet there you were racing them. It not only had to be an awesome learning experience, but one of great pride too, especially, you know, how you competed against them. Did it not?
You know what was really amazing to me after I did it, is they had this Harris Speedway, first place I won races in '65, it become NASCAR.
Yes.
And I beat Rex White for the championship, and he'd already won Grand National Championship, now called Cup.
Yeah.
And how I done it, it was by default.
Oh.
Sort of.
Sort of.
After the race was over, Pete Keller took the first 3 point leaders, took their engine apart, and Rex wouldn't take it apart, and he left.
Ah.
And that put me the winner of the race and the championship.
Wow. So you then second behind him when the checkered flag flew.
Oh yeah.
But when he wouldn't let them tear it apart.
That gave me the race and the championship.
Yeah.
And let me tell you about that race.
Okay.
Paid $500. I got this check from this promoter.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it took about a week and it come back. It was written on Northwestern Bank in Forest City. And there's a big Northwestern Bank here in Asheville, and I called Banjo, and he knew the manager over it. It was a big headquarters in Wilkesboro. But anyway,
Okay.
it was a big bank. We go over and we were sitting in the manager's office, and he called the Northwestern Bank in Forest City. Of course, I already knew they didn't have no money there. And they told him there was no money there. So I decided that I would call the guy named Pat Purcell in NASCAR.
Okay.
He held the same job Mike Hilton has now.
Oh, okay.
I called Pat. I said, Pat, I got a check for this Harris Speedway, and it bounced. And he said, where you be in about 15 minutes? I'll be at this phone here, and gave him the phone number. We're sitting in that got off. In about 10 minutes he called and said, you take that check to Forest City and they'll cash it. And I said, Pat, these people here in this bank here said there's no money there. You do what I say. I went to Forest City and I walked in that door and they gave me 5 $100 bills. Now, old man Bill France, I've become a big time believer in him right there.
Yes.
Now that's powerful.
Yes. That's
To be able to
amazing.
do that.
Well, see, a lot of us hear about the formation of NASCAR, that one of the reasons it was formed was because NASCAR made sure that track operators paid their bills, that a lot of them were trying to cheat racers out of their winnings.
Absolutely. They would, if they had some racetrack had a championship event and they didn't have most of them had a bond up, but if a bond wasn't enough to cover that purse, they'd send Pete Keller or somebody like that there to get this purse money before they drop a green flag.
Wow.
And that last time I seen that happen was in Beltsville, Maryland.
Really?
Yeah.
God.